going to turn 50, my husband wanted to give me a beautiful ring. But by that time, I had ridden for quite a while, but I had never had formal instruction. So, and I had seen people do some liberty work, and I was really fascinated by that. So I asked Peter, I said, if you want to give me a nice present, I want to spend time with the best trainer you can find so I can shoot all my questions and I want to learn a lot.
And so that's why I'm here.
That's why you're here.
Wow, thank you.
So it's an ongoing birthday present.
Or a beautiful present for me to find a place that is so rich with horsemanship and the will to learn more about the horses and actually communicating with the horses. And the environment that your beautiful ranch provides is, I think, second to none. What did you say? It's one of the 50 highest rated guest ranches?
Top 50 ranches. Yeah.
Top 50 ranches in the world.
And that.
Traveled all around the North America and even into Canada. And then I realized that Wyoming is an amazing place. And I really look forward to not only sharing the culture that is present in everything that you do here at the ranch. I mean, it really is authentic horsemanship that you're searching for, and but also just the environment. It's so quiet. You can actually.
It's a great location, and the diversity is enormous.
You can hear your horse think, and that's not something that you get at a normal horsemanship clinic.
The biggest insight for me was because when I started to train with you, I thought, okay, my biggest goal was I want to do level 4 Liberty with Johnny. I want to do the Liberty. But then, I started to do the bridleless riding with Sheridan. And then, Johnny can do the bridleless riding and Sheridan can do Liberty now. So I have the impression that you took the time to teach me letters, and it takes a long time, the beginning. And then you're starting to learn words, and then you make little sentences, and now I have whole conversations. And because I learned a new language, now I can do it with any of my horses, and it goes so much faster. So that's the great thing. So it's us learning a new language, and then you can apply it to any of your horses, but it goes much faster later on. Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect. Well, Mahin, you've obviously invited me back several times. When did we begin working with each other?
A year ago in June.
Okay. So it was, you passed
my
Liberty,
Liberty, and I started working with you on the online and on my freestyle. And
right.
I was not a very talented student for freestyle, because that's, in my mind, that was a big thing, starting to ride without reins.
Mm-hmm.
But it went beautifully. So,
well, you've said this to me several times, and I have other students who have told me too. But you said, well, that it looked really easy, or it was easy when you told me to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to tell people that I hope you don't pay me if I make it sound difficult, or if I made it look difficult, because I feel like if I can explain the concept to save you the amount of time it took me to learn it, then not only am I extremely proud of you as my student, but I feel good as an instructor.
Mm-hmm. And I had so much fun doing it. Every time I work with you, I'm going to learn a ton, but I have a great afternoon when I do it. So it's a combination. You have the gift to push me in a really nice way until where I feel still comfortable, but I'm really pushing myself. And then the next lesson, it goes so much better. But I always feel, respected, and you explain things in a nice way. Because if some people start yelling, and I'm not going to learn anything when somebody yells at me,
Mm-hmm.
So it's...
Well, and I think students are a lot like horses in the way that, they cannot learn if they're stressed, or if they feel too much pressure. They're not in a learning frame of mind.
Yeah.
But if you can offer a comfortable environment for that student, even if the concepts are very difficult or something that they've
You
never...
bring them down pretty nicely so they get structured. So it's very goal-oriented without stressing the horse, without pushing too much to the horse. You always have the well-being of the horse.
Well, thank you very much. You know, you've had a few lessons with me and you've observed a lot of lessons with Marin. Is there something in particular that you enjoy about my teaching style or something that you've learned in the process of watching those lessons that is meaningful to you?
Well, what I think it's really is important is that you're like when I was describing which trainer we're looking for, so you fit that program. You have an open mind because you know about English riding, dressage, jumping, cowboy dressage, western. So that's important to understand where all people are coming from, but it also is going to encourage you to keep learning more. You got a very structured way of teaching because that's one of the things that I observed. There are many great horsemen and clinicians that I've seen here that are like incredible, but they have a very hard time breaking it down in steps. So that is really what I've seen with basically with a lot of Pirelli people. But what I like also about you, you believe in that program, but you're also open-minded to look at other things also, which is really, really important for me. But then the other thing is that I noticed, like the enthusiasm of my wife working with you, the enthusiasm of our head hanger, all the other people that have worked with you, they're really very, very interested. You're well traveled and all that, so that's important. That comes back to be having an open mind again. And the other thing is that you really care. So you just don't go through the motion to get your paycheck, which is for us working in hospitality, like in a guest ranch, is our guests, they come here because they feel we really care, authentically care. We care that they have a great time. And we're passionate about that. So I think that passion sets free so much positive energy. And I think that is really, you care a lot about the outcome, you go the extra length, and that's really also one of the reasons that we're really looking forward to work with you.
Well, I really appreciate the compliments, Peter. Another big draw for me to this facility was the fact that it's a beautiful environment, like the cabin that people are going to be staying in. What year did you say that was made?
So going back a little bit to the history of this property, it's actually really, it's interesting because one of the first guest ranches in Wyoming was actually located in this place. And that was a guest ranch that was operational from 1899 till 1925. And so some of the famous people that actually came to this guest ranch was Owen Whisper, who rode the Virginian, actually 3 years in a row for three months. But also Hemingway, Roosevelt, and then the Wyatts from Pharmaceutical and N.C. Wyatt, who were like pretty famous painters, came to this guest ranch also. And then they bought the property. The Wyatts bought the property in 1925, and then they built this lodge as their private guest ranch.
Oh, wow.
And so the guest house, where the people participating in your clinics going to stay, was one of the two guest houses that was built with this lodge in 1925.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of history in
a lot
this
of history
area.
around the place, yeah. And there is still a cabin, the first cabin, one of the first cabins in this valley, was built in 1868 by a French-Canadian trapper, and that's still located there. It's across the guest house where everybody's going to stay. Yeah.
And that's why they call it Trapper Creek Guest Ranch here.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
People will do anything to learn. I mean, they stay in all kinds of. They'll sleep on a mattress on the floor or camp out in a tent, but it's hard to learn when you're physically stressed like that, especially at the end of the day. You're so exhausted.
Yeah,
and, you know, in order for everything to sink in, you just need a good night's sleep. And so I'm just really excited about the place that people are going to be staying, the beautiful cabin, and then, you know, they're going to be getting quality food, and the horses are going to be comfortable too.
Yeah, the setting is really beautiful, and when we start to work on like renovating the guest house and then the corrals and all that, I mean, we're in the horse business and high-end horse business, so we really want it to look nice. And I think important also for a learning environment is that everything is clean, that everything is of quality, because that so there's nothing disturbing about the area. And then the guest house is located next to Trapper Creek, so you always sit on the deck and can hear the water in the creek going by and all that. It's secluded in the mountains, so it's it's a pretty neat environment. Yeah. Yeah, the Shell Valley was actually promoted with the first settlers as the Valley of the Fruits, because Wyoming is one of the most windy states, and it's very cold, and so there are fruit species that actually can resist the cold or the wind, but the combination of cold and wind is very few fruit trees would resist that. And this valley, because it's so secluded and surrounded by mountains, is actually one of the least windy areas in Wyoming.
Which is one of the first things that I used to think of Wyoming was wind. And every time I come to teach Machin, there's never any wind.
No, we got winds, but much less than that. It's not constantly.
Well, I'm really looking forward to the retreats we're going to offer this summer. Thank you so much again, Peter, for inviting me.
Thank you. Welcome on board. We're happy to have you.